Good morning, students. In this class, we are going to discuss about some deep information regarding mineral nutrients in higher plants. In previous class, we had a discussion regarding macronutrients and micronutrients interaction. Now, let us see in detailed explanation regarding macro and micronutrients in this class. First of all, let us see what are called as micronutrients and macronutrients. Based on the quantitative requirement by plants, nutrients are divided into two categories: macronutrients and micronutrients. Now, let us see macronutrients. Macronutrients are generally present in plants and plant tissues in large amounts, in excess of 10 millimoles per 1 kg of dry matter. The macronutrients include carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Out of these, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are mainly obtained from carbon dioxide and H2O, while the others are absorbed from the soil as mineral nutrients. So those are gaseous mineral nutrients: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Next, micronutrients. Micronutrients are also called trace elements, are needed in very little or small amount, less than 10 millimoles per 1 kg of dry matter. Such nutrients are called as micronutrients. These include iron, manganese, copper, cobalt, and zinc, boron, chlorine, nickel, molybdenum, etc. In addition to these 17 elements named above, there are some beneficial elements such as sodium, silicon, cobalt, and selenium. They are also required by higher plants. So now let us see some essential elements in this class. Essential elements can also be grouped into 4 broad categories on the basis of their diverse functions. These categories are as follows. First category: essential elements as components of biomolecules and hence structural elements of cells. Then those are as follows. Example: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Is it clear? Then second category: essential elements that are components of energy related chemical compounds in plants. What are those? Example: magnesium in chlorophyll and phosphorus in ATP. Next, students' third category: essential elements that activate or inhibit enzymes. For example, Mg2 plus is an activator for both ribulose bisphosphate carboxylase and oxygenase, and as well as phosphoenol carboxylase, both of which are critical enzymes in photosynthetic carbon fixation. It means Zn2 plus is an activator of alcohol dehydrogenase and MO of nitrogenase during nitrogen metabolism. So for this you will need to recollect some of the biochemical pathways you have studied earlier. Next, last category, fourth category. Some essential elements can alter the osmotic potential of the cell. Potassium plays an important role in the ripening of the fruits and opening and closing of stomata. You will recall the role of minerals as solutes in determining the water potential of the cell. So now let us see, students, one important concept: role of macronutrients and micronutrients. Essential elements perform several functions. They participate in various metabolic processes in the plant cells, such as permanently they remains. Then what are those functions? Permeability of cell membrane. Next, maintenance of osmotic concentration of the cell sap. Next, electron transport systems. Next, buffering action, enzymatic activity, and act as major constituents of macronutrients and coenzymes. So various forms and functions of essential nutrient elements are given below. First, let us talk about nitrogen as a macronutrient. This is the essential nutrient element required by plants in the greatest amount. It is absorbed mainly as NO3, through some of are also taken up as NO2 minus or NH4 plus. Nitrogen is required by all plants and particularly the meristematic tissue of the plant and metabolically active cells. Nitrogen is one of the major constituents of the proteins, nucleic acids, vitamins and hormones. Next, students, let us see those micronutrients and macronutrients. Region of the plant which required, function and deficiency symptoms, one by one in detail. So just now we had a discussion regarding nitrogen. So about nitrogen, let us learn the detailed explanation. So serial number 1, first one, nitrogen. The available forms are NO2 minus and NO3 minus or NH4 plus. And region of the plant in which required, throughout the plant body, particularly in meristematic tissues. Then let us see functions. Major constituents of proteins, nucleic acids, vitamins and hormones. Next, deficiency symptoms: chlorosis, stunted leaves. Next, dormancy of lateral buds. Next, late flowering, purple coloration of shoot axis, wrinkled grains and inhibition of mitosis. So these are all the different deficiency symptoms of nitrogen, one of the major element. Next, the second category in the major elements, it is nothing but phosphorus. Phosphorus is obtained by the plants from soil in the form of phosphate ions, either as H2PO4 minus or HPO4 2 minus. Next, let us see regions of plants in which parts they required. Younger leaves withdrawn from older metabolically less active cells. Next, functions of the phosphorus. So, constituent of cell membrane, certain protein, and all nutrients and certain nucleic acids and nucleotides needed for all phosphorylation reactions. Then one more important point, deficiency symptoms. Delay in seed germination, purple spots on leaves, dark green leaves, and premature fall of leaves and flower buds. Now let us see the next one. Next one, as we learn from the macronutrients category, essential element is potassium, K plus. Then available form, birds, leaves, and root tips also in all meristematic tissues. Next, anion, cation, balancing membrane in cells. Next, protein synthesis, opening and closing of stomata, and turgidity of cells. So now let us see lastly about deficiency symptoms. Chlorosis in interveinal areas. Next, scorched leaf tips, shorter internodes, diabetes, loss of apical dominance, loss of cambium activity, disintegration of pesticides, and increased rate of respiration, loss of apical dominance. So now the next one, calcium. The available form is Ca2 plus. And plants absorb calcium from the soil in the form of calcium ions, nothing but Ca2 plus. Meristematic tissues, mitotic spindle fermentation, these are also these are also consisting this one, and presence in a large scale. Next, involved in the normal functioning of cell membranes, controls the metabolic activities, symptoms of cell wall, and found in calcium pectate in the middle lamella of the cells. So this is most important for competitive examinations. So middle lamella of the cells constitute calcium pectate. We learn this concept in the Cell the End of Life chapter. Next, deficiency symptoms. Necrosis and stunted growth. Next, fifth one, magnesium. Available form Mg++ or 2 plus form. So it is absorbed by plants in the form of divalent Mg2 plus. So it activates the enzymes of respiration. Next, potassium and are involved in the synthesis of N, DNA and RNA. Magnesium is a constituent of the ring structure of the chlorophyll and helps to maintain the ribosome structure. So now let us see some more important points regarding magnesium. It's a component of chlorophyll, activates the number of photosynthetic and respiratory enzymes and combines of subunits of ribosomes. Next, synthesis and hydrolysis of DNA. Next, deficiency symptoms, marginal curdling, intervenal chlorosis, and with the accumulation of first aid or first appearing into the seeds of them. Next, sand, drone of tobacco. These are all different deficiency symptoms in the plants. Next, one more. It is nothing but sulfur. Plants obtain sulfur in the form of sulfate, SO4 2-. So then let us see in which parts of the plants required. Part of CoA, ferredoxin, and vitamin H, thiamine, lipoic acid, and amino acids example cysteine and cysteine and methionine. Next, sulfur is present in two amino acids, cysteine and methionine, and in the main constitute of several coenzymes and vitamins thiamine and biotic coenzyme A and ferredoxin. And we know biotin, it is also called as B3 vitamin. Next, deficiency symptoms due to lack of sulfur. Chlorosis first in English, reduced nodulation in T, a low extensive of root system. Next, iron. Plants obtain iron in the form of ferric ions Fe3+. It is required larger amounts in comparison of other micronutrients. So from the micronutrients category, iron is the first one. Comparatively, other micronutrients, students, iron is required in a large amount to the plants. So it is an important constituent of proteins involved in the transfer of electrons like ferredoxin and cytochromes. It is responsibly reversible for oxidized from Fe2+ to Fe3+ during electron transport system. Next, students, it activates catalyzed enzymes and is essential for the formation of chlorophyll. Next, deficiency symptoms. Intervener chlorosis first in English, green netting of citrus. So this is about iron. Now let us see about next one, manganese. So here, students, it is absorbed in the form of manganese ions, so shortly called as Md2+. So this Mn2+, it activates many enzymes involved in photosynthesis, respiration and nitrogen metabolism. So the best defined action of manganese in the splitting of water to liberate oxygen during photosynthesis. Next, deficiency symptoms. Development of gray spots on leaves of wood plants. This is the significant characteristic due to lack of manganese in the plants. Next, zinc. Plants obtain zinc as Zn2+ ions. It activates various enzymes, especially carboxylase. It also needed in the synthesis of oxygen. Then here one important point to be discussed. Activation of carboxylases enzymes, oxygens are synthesized, part of carbonic anhydrase and various dehydrogenases. Then deficiency symptoms. Chlorosis intervenal deformed leaves and stunted growth, leaves are absent, and rosette of formed from the plants, cabbage, etc. Next, another one is copper. It is absorbed as cupric ion Ce2 plus. It is essential for the overall metabolism in plants. Remember, it is very important for competitive exams. Like iron, it is associated with certain enzymes involved in redox reactions and is reversibly oxidized from Cu plus and Cu2 plus. Then here, let us see some more information. Control of overall metabolism, activator of enzymes involved in redox enzymes and redox reactions and interconventions of Cu plus to Cu2 plus. Then deficiency symptoms. Necrosis in the tips of the young leaves and debag of shoots. Next, students, the another one, boron. Boron, it is absorbed as BO3 3 minus or BO4 O7 2 minus. Boron is required for uptake and utilization of Ca2 plus, membrane functioning, pollen germination, and the another important one is cell elongation, cell differentiation, and carbohydrate translocation also. So now let us see some more deficiency symptoms. Death of root and shoot tips, loss of apical dominance, abscission of flowers, small and erased small sized fruits. Next, non-development of this root nodules in leguminous plants, brown heart disease of cauliflower, and stunted growth. These are the different deficiency symptoms can be seen due to lack of boron in a sufficient amount in the plants. So presence especially in the seeds in the leaves. Next one, molybdenum. Plants obtain in the form of molybdenate ions MoO2 2 plus. It is component of several bioenzymes. Next, including nitrogenous and nitrate reductase, both of which participate in nitrogen metabolism. But here, students, one important point, constraint of nitrogenase and nitrate reductase enzymes N2 metabolism role. Next, deficiency symptoms. Deficiency symptoms as follows: retardation of growth and intervenal chlorosis. And lastly, the most important one is chlorine. It is absorbed in the form of chloride anion Cl minus. Among the Na plus and Ka plus, it helps in determining the solute concentration, and it is the most important anion, helpful for anion cation balance in the cells. So it helps in determining the concentration and anion cation balance in the cells. It is essential for the water splitting reaction decreases, and the most important one is photosynthesis. It forms carbon dioxide for all the plants performing photosynthesis with the help of this chlorine. So students, these are the few micronutrients. So students, with this macronutrients and micronutrients and their availability form and in plants in which locations they're present and in what form they're available, and deficiency symptoms in plants we had a discussion. So in the next video we will discuss some more detailed information. Thank you one and all.